Hey kids, good morning. It's Mark Miller here, streaming live from Costa Rica with Rory. Streaming to you live from the UK.
Yep.
Hey, how you doing, Rory?
I'm doing good, my friend. Not bad at all. We're up and running.
I was
good.
on Thursday or Friday when we last left off. I was doing some not bad coding.
Yeah.
I said I want to make this thing so I can see my GPU or not my GPU, but my frame rate. You know, it's all about. Oh, hold on one second, Karen. Can you close the door, please? Thank you so much. Oh, good job getting that dog out of here. Because as soon as she closed that, this dog loves my wife, by the way. He loves my wife like 10 times more than me.
Wait, more than you love me?
No, 10 times more than he loves me.
Oh, that's true for everyone.
I think I love you 10 times more than the dog. What do you want to say, Rory?
I'm not getting involved. I could get in trouble.
Yeah, Rory's not getting involved. He's going to get in trouble.
I think Rory loves me 10 times more than he loves you.
No, that might be true. I think everybody loves you 10 times more than they love me. That's fair. But yeah, this dog, I'll be like, you know, I love you, dog, I love you. And Karen leaves the room and the dog's like, like that. And I'm like, but I love you. That's the dog. So on Friday, I'm like, let's figure out this GPU problem. Let's start graphing, getting some data so we can see it. By the way, it looks like I'm peaking just a little bit. I'm dropping down my volume just a bit there. Just let me know how that is.
How's your upload speed there, Mark? I'm getting periodic slowdown in my video and then catching up. The audio is fine, but again, this is Skype, so it may not be indicative of.
Yeah,
I suppose I should check.
the stream is good. My signal for the stream is good.
Smooth as. That's true. Yeah. Fair enough.
I gotta switch.
Won't worry too much then.
Yeah, I gotta switch over to my second computer to find out. You know, if you ask me questions like that, because I've got now OBS and Skype running on the second computer, because I'm trying to free up the attack on my GPU. Is what I'm trying to do so that I can attack it with my code pretty much exclusively and not much else. So, we're getting in a better state. We're at least starting to kind of draw a net around it to try to understand what the entire problem is.
Well, we made some good progress last week, didn't we? To figure out that there was it a context change? Attempting to do hue shifting in rapid succession was costing us a lot of GPU.
Right, and there are a couple techniques that we can apply to improve the or to reduce the amount of GPU hit that we are taking in our own code. And so I want to kind of go down that path. But I need some help. If only there was a coding gorilla here that could help me. There's some good code flying by. Did you guys see that? It was awesome code.
Very quickly. Welcome, Coding Gorilla.
Uh-oh, you got an echo from both of us.
Oh.
I am not seeing evidence of an echo here. Rory, can you listen to the stream? See if you're still here.
I can try.
I'm like, I'm seeing evidence of only one signal going out. There is an echo? Really? Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me switch to my second machine. Because on my first machine, everything's good. Second machine. Yeah, maybe there's a problem here. Hold on. Nope, that's not the one to mute. Or wait, is it? Check. Yeah, I think we're good now. Listen to it now, Rory, and see if you hear if the echo's gone. I think the echo. Actually, you know what though? I think I want to disable this one and enable the other one. And I want you to now try it now. Check.
Yes, I think that's better.
All right.
It's a little tricky to tell because whilst we have this Skype call in operation, something on my machine has turned down all the other audio. So even if I switch over to look at the stream, it's quite hard to listen to.
Coding Gorilla says it sounds good. Yeah, I've got getting a pretty complicated setup here, and it's about to get worse. I don't know. On Friday, I raided Chef Brent.
Okay.
Who's a nice guy, brilliant guy, like he's the perfect guy to rate and to show up in. And he's like he was building somebody's machine by basically not building it but getting the parts for it.
Nice.
At which point I was like, I want to.
I need a new machine.
I need a new machine. At which point Chef Ren is like, he puts on the brakes, stops the show, and now he's building a machine for me.
Nice.
Because maybe in part two, because he's like, "What's your budget?" And I'm like, $8,000. And he's like, "Dude, for $4,000 we can get you what you want." And I'm like, "Okay." So anyway, yeah, that's the problem with computers. You get to a point where you start throwing another 1,000 or whatever at it, and you're just getting smaller and smaller kinds of incremental gains.
Yeah.
So he built me one on Friday. And I took the shopping list and started putting stuff in my cart. Found a lot of things were actually not available because like everybody's at home, so they're I think investing in their machines at home.
Yeah.
So I talked to him in chat afterwards. We swapped out some items, and then I go and I get the whole thing, and I go look at the GPU rankings, and I look at the card he got me, and it's ranked number 1, and I'm like, okay, not bad. And then I'm like, what's the ranking of my current card?
Yeah, that's obviously the question. So how much better?
Yeah.
By what magnitude is this going to improve?
It's like number 26, which is actually not bad considering it's like
not bad.
Over a year old. It's 2 years old, I think. Something like that. It's a year or two old. So it's 26. And I'm like, oh no. So then I go to what is the ranking? And the 3D ranking is not really my problem. My problem seems to be more in 2D space, I think.
Sure. Is
what it is. I'm doing these color shifting things, many times, on sprites, many times a second in using the browser's filter on the canvas. So I go, and so I go, so what's the rankings? And so basically my ranking for my current laptop is about a 14,000.
Okay.
The ranking for the GPU I'm going to get is 21,000. So I'm basically I'm going up by 50%.
50% extra.
Yeah, it's not a times 5, it's a times 1.5. Because I was telling you I want to boost this up. I was imagining I could get much more.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. That's just not going to happen without way more money, and I'm actually totally happy spending way less money. So but I ordered the machine. And the machine's getting imported in parts. I'm going to build it here in Costa Rica, and it's coming in. And so probably in about 2 weeks, I think we'll have that up and running. But we're talking about things getting complicated. Right now, I've got 2 machines running the show, and we might actually go to 3. I know. I was
going to say, so once you've got an extra machine that in theory was going to replace one of your machines, that still leaves you with a spare machine. So, throw that into the mix if you can,
well,
right?
At the very least, that's going to be thrown into the Dungeons & Dragons show.
Sure.
Which is, for kids, if you're not out there following it, it's like a crazy. Last Sunday night, it was so funny. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning. Forgive us for that as we're going through. But we're getting better and smarter about, understanding, what's the symptom, what's the solution, that sort of thing. But we got through the show. We got through the technical difficulties at the beginning, and the rest of the show went really smoothly, and it was so funny. It is totally, outrageous body comedy. So, if you're, sensitive to that, that's not something you want to, jump into. But the show was great. We had a new guy on there. Miles is the character's name, and he was awesome as well. So everybody had a great time. Really, really funny. But that show's really complicated. And and there's a ladies only Dungeons and Dragons version of the show that my wife is producing, and on that, Karen plays a puppeted character using FaceRig. And I think this computer the second computer that I'm currently streaming and doing OBS off of is going to go exclusively to her FaceRig. So she's got a really smooth 3D animated character puppet with leap motion controller, so she'll be able to control the fingertips That's what we're looking to do.
That's impressive.
So, so that's kind of what's going on. Now, one of the issues that happened, one of the technical issues that happened during that show. In fact, let's do this. Let's get some music up here because I don't like talking in silence here. One of the issues that came up with the show is we went into combat and we were disconnected. The button stopped working completely. I couldn't, anything that involved any communication over chat just disappeared and failed. There was no error message on the Stream Deck. The Stream Deck was successfully sending its message out to chat, but on our side, we weren't listening. And the solution was to restart. And I was like, what has happened? And part of the problem is that we've had this kind of problem before, where the symptom of the problem happens much later than the cause. And that's what was appearing to happen here. I'll go ahead and enter combat now, and I think I made a quick fix that stopped the problem from happening.
Okay.
But so here we've entered into combat. The Dungeons and Dragons music has started up, like that, and then this is about when we lost contact, but we didn't know it, so it wasn't at the beginning of the roll.
Yes.
It was at the end of the roll when the roll stopped, and now we were cut off. And I started hooking every single event. I did this actually, I think, last night. And I hooked every event, and I started sending out the data of that event into the history log right here. Although I'm not seeing it here. No, I think I know why. Hold on. Let me close this down a second. Let's rebuild.
It's a nice little audit trail you can refer to whenever something does go wrong. So
yeah.
It shows logs of what's been happening.
Yeah, exactly. So let's do a rebuild over here. And actually, this is the fix right here. Hold on. Actually, let me stop the rebuild. Let me reproduce the bug so you can see this, because I think this is super interesting. Build cancel. Did I cancel build? There we go. This used to be tell all. So this is the change. I basically came in and said, oh, you know what? For initiative, it makes sense to also send the initiative out into the chat room. That's the change I made. And then all of a sudden, and it seems like a safe change. Instead of sending it just to the Dungeon Master, I'm now sending it to the Dungeon Master and the viewers. So they'll get a list of the initiatives, what the initiative results are. That was a change I made. Let's run it. You'll see the break and you'll see the data. The cool thing is like, it was one of those situations where I was like, okay, I have a theory about what it could be happening. I think my theory is we're sending too many messages. I don't know why. It doesn't feel like we should be, but something in Twitch is shutting us down because we're sending too many messages. So that was my theory. So my reaction to that theory was to go in and hook like all of these events. Let's see if I can find it here. Hopefully I've extracted it into its own method. Nope, that's not it. But I might be able to search for this. Not a regular expression, or I can keep it a regular expression and do this. Like that. Okay, probably find it pretty quickly there. Hook game events? Nope. That's not what I want. Not the hook events either. Nope, 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 nope. 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 There it is. Okay, I didn't. That's why I couldn't find it, because I did not extract it to its own function. All right. Okay, so now we are up. Let me close that down for you. So I hooked all of these events, and in every single one of these events, I sent a message out to the history, throwing the event args out to it, like that. Okay?
Okay.
So now we have the bug. Let's go ahead and enter combat here. I'll do it off of the, we should be able to have control, and I'll do it off the Stream Deck. So I'll hit the enter combat button. So we're connected. Right there, we're entering the combat. We roll the dice. Now we're broken. But we don't know we're broken now, but we're broken. Which means if I come in and I say, okay, Fred's, let's switch it over to Little Cutie, I hit that button, nothing happens. So the Dungeon Master is pressing buttons to roll the dice and nothing is happening. And there's a little bit of a delay, so it's not entirely certain that it's not responsive. So then the Dungeon Master does it. Now what I do in this point is I'm like, well, okay, no worry, I got you. I just come over here and I click on here. And the connection works. I think we're good. I think the problem is in his connection to the chat room, but it's not. The problem is we've been disconnected from the chat, is what has happened. And the proof of that is over in here. And so now if we come and we look at this, we can start seeing, go through the messages here. Let's do this. We can start seeing what happens. This is what I saw, and this is when I learned, oh, okay, there's the break here. Here we go. So it's up in this space here. We start getting these messages back in the logged event.
Is that the unaccounted for?
Yeah, that says, hey, your message was not sent because you were sending messages too quickly. So here's what's happening. I'm sending 6 lines of chat to 3 different chat rooms. Right. So I'm sending 18 messages out in like, a quarter second or less. Right? Mm-hmm. So 18 messages in a quarter second is about my estimate about what's happening there. That's my conservative estimate. I'm getting another one. Your message was not sent because you're sending messages too quickly. Your message was not sent. Your message was not sent. Your message was not sent. Notice also you've got this, hey, please create a Twitch lib GitHub issue maybe on this line right over here. Right?
Yep.
Hold on. You're still getting the logs. Well, this indicates that we're still connected. I thought for sure what I was seeing last night is we were disconnected. So am I working now or not? Let's see. Are my buttons? I thought we already proved that the buttons were working. Oh, they are working. Well, anyway, that was my problem last night. And I got enough of these that it was actually disconnecting me.
So didn't Surly say something a week or so ago about the VIP or not level of a given user allowing it to bypass certain constraints of number of messages sent per second?
Yeah.
Does the user you've got here have suitable levels of elevation?
Should be, yeah. Should be, absolutely. Although what's interesting is if you look in the Code Rush channel, nothing's happened in the Code Rush channel. Wait, did I turn off the Code Rush ones? Hold on, let's see. Let's go into tell all. Oops, wrong solution. Here we go. Tell all. Suppress messages. Are we suppressing messages? Oh, we are. There's this bit here. That's the thing that's going to take it over the top, is what it is, I think. Let's take it over the top, shall we? It's adding a 3rd channel. So we were only doing it to 2. So sending it also to the Code Rush one is the piece that sent it over the top. So I added this line of code here to suppress it, is what I did.
Builder in the chat. Nice. I like the new nameplates.
Yeah, I do too.
I have to say, I like them a lot. There's some serious style to that, and I had somehow completely missed them up until he pointed them out.
Oh, really?
It shows that I've been concentrating on other things.
Good. Yeah, no, they're better. They are better.
They are nice.
They're actually, we did them, Michael, in a response to performance issue with the GPU. So, because we were color shifting a bunch of static images across the bottom, and the GPU was like, I'll take 20% just to do that. Mm-hmm. The color shifting using the filter of the context. So we are actually focused on GPU. I'm showing this one issue with regards to what Twitch was doing. So I'm going to now set that to false is what I'm going to do. So we're going to come back in. We're going to go in one more time to combat. I'm going to hit the enter combat button. Oh, we're already in combat. Hold on. We're going to exit combat. There we go. Enter combat one more time. Now we're going in it. That breakpoint's going to be hit after the dice stop rolling. I'm gonna just step over that line is what I'll do. Come down over here. Set next statement. All right, there we go. And now we're going to run. And now we should be good. We should be disconnected. I'm not seeing any evidence of that. Just this one single log. All right. I guess you just have to trust me. Oh wait, oh there we go. Look at that.
Fatal network error.
Yeah.
Network error services failed to shut down.
It's different from what I saw before, but that's like ultimately that's the end result. All right. I know what SurlyDev is saying. SurlyDev is using use the friggin' control key to drag a rectangle around there. So that's ultimately what we got.
Yep.
So that is I got that bug by I basically understood the bug by doing this, and I just wanted to share that with you because it was a really interesting bug to find. Right? It was seemingly a safe line of code change. Just I'll just send the messages over to one more chat room, and it was just we tipped across the threshold that Twitch was allowing, and we were disconnected, and there was no evidence that we were getting disconnected. So how do I plan to fix it? I am going to that disconnect in that disconnected event handler. Whoops, that's not where I wanted to go. Over here, in here, I'm going to make note of it. I'm going to change my UI, make the whole background go red when we're disconnected. So if that happens ever again, I'm going to have a strong indication of it with a big button to say reconnect. That's what we're going to do, and then we're going to just simply reconnect. When we've done this, it's been okay. For example, we actually have code. When I send a message from the app, there's code that checks to see. Let me show you that, because I added that code because I guess we were kind of already having symptoms of the problem. We were getting disconnected. I didn't realize it. But I basically added code that say, hey, have we joined the channel? If not, or if we have, send the message. We're cool. If we haven't, join the channel, send the message. And if we get an exception there, I recreate the whole Dungeon Master client. And then I send the message. So you can see I've been kind of dealing with the problem, but not really understanding the problem already.
Yeah.
But that required that I send a message. So it would create this interesting scenario where we would suddenly lose control and things wouldn't work from the Stream Decks, and it wasn't clear that it wasn't the Stream Deck's fault. Right? It just would stop working, and it would stop working at some point after that initiative was rolled, right? When the die report came back, but we wouldn't know it till we tried to hit the next button. So anyway, that was the problem. I'm gonna fix that in a nice, clean way, and I feel way better than I did on Sunday night when this problem occurred, and I wasn't sure what was going on.
It's always nice when you do have that moment of clarity. You understand the reason for something.
Yeah, because the thing would be is I would do something on the control panel, like whatever. I'd choose enter battle, and at that point afterwards, the Stream Deck would start working again, because I went through sent message and it got down to here, and recreated the Dungeon Master client. So my fix for this also involves. Well, I do still want to send to all these channels. So part of my fix is we're gonna create a delayed way of sending chat messages out. If we're sending a whole bunch out, we're going to have a queue, and we're going to say, okay, let's throw these off the queue. In another second, we're going to send these, and in another second, we'll send to the other chat room. So we'll prioritize the Dungeon Master. Dungeon Master will get the initiative results immediately, and then the viewers next, and then the Code Rush channel, this one next. Disaster of Puppets is here with us. How do you get the dice to randomize show as 3D objects? That code is, I don't actually get that question all the time. We've got that code over in the dice roller.
Ultimately, that goes back to, is it D3? And
it goes to
argument
3.
The fact that we are having this on a canvas.
It goes to 3.
Which is overlaid.
Yeah, and it goes to 3.js and Canon.js, which are third-party libraries. 3JS is for drawing 3D elements in JavaScript, and Canon.js is physics engine. And so that's what's going on. So the dice roller takes care of, it randomizes the direction, the rotation of the die before the throw. It randomizes the velocity of the throw and the direction of the throw. So you got a couple different options, and it might throw the die up here or down here or down here. It might change the force. It changes the initial rotation of the die. That's what's going on there, and then the dice just roll. We wait for the movement to settle down. Once it settles, we figure out the top number, and then we do the math, that sort of thing. That's what's going on there.
Some people might not expect, we're not picking a random number and then making the dice do that. No, we're actually simulating the dice properly and then reading the actual value, exactly as you would in the real world.
Yeah. So, cool. Let's do this. Looks smooth. I've just been using transparent movies, etc. with Streamlabs chatbot, but nothing that clean. Well, thanks. I want it to be even cleaner, is where I'm at on this. Let me show you what I mean by this. I'm going to roll out like 12 D12s all by themselves. Let's see how good this is. What, did I disconnect? Am I not working? I just used my buttons. Am I disconnected? I might be disconnected. I'm disconnected. Okay. Freeze time.
One more demonstration of that bug.
Yeah, so here we go. We're going through here. There's my recreate. So here's how I fix it. I just sent a message over to freeze time. Looks like that failed, but I bet that reconnected me. I bet I can now roll my damage. Let's try again. 12 D12 generic. Okay, there we go. All right, not bad. The dice are pretty smooth. They're pretty smooth. But the frame rate is still not as high as I want it to be. I want a higher frame rate for the dice coming out. Now let's do the same thing again. 12 D12s, and now let's bring in fire damage. And see the difference. Much slower. Much slower.
Yep.
That's not acceptable. This is what we're going after this week. Is the goal is to fix this. Part of the reason... Go ahead.
Mark, is this similar kind of effect? Because although you're not probably changing the fire damage with a particular hue, I know you use a similar animation for things like frost, where you do change that.
Yeah.
So is this our same problem effectively coming in and hitting us just from a slightly different angle?
Well, let's check it for sure. I actually selected fire damage because I thought the same thing. But let's go look at it and see if we are shifting the hue on fire. Because if
dice just shrink to the size of pinheads.
That happens sometimes when there's performance issues.
Okay.
Right here. If there's not, those get all the way down and they go away. Let's see what I want to do. I want to go into the dice layer. And I'm looking for something called like add fire. Add damage fire. Yep, add shifted. We're doing a color shift on it. So the fire is going to be slow even though we're not shifting it much. Okay? So, all right, let's talk about that. So that's kind of what we want to do. So to fix this, by the way, I'm just going to throw out like I'll do like let's throw out 2d8 plus 6 health. We'll roll the health on this, get rid of all these other die. With only 2, the performance should be better.
Yep.
Right? So one of the things we can do is we can just simply turn off color shifting, which for the fire won't really make a big difference. The other thing, I dreamt this morning, Rory, is it goes like this. It's check the frame rate, and if the frame rate feels laggy, turn off color shifting. Do it dynamically.
If slow, do less.
Yes. If slow, do less. And I was like, oh yeah, brilliant. And just do less for like, till the roll stops. And then we kind of reset it. So that's another way to solve that problem. So that what that means is if I roll 1 die, right, I'll get that color shifting. Like, look at this. Let's do 2d8. Let's do necrotic damage here, like this. Let's roll the damage. Check out the color shifting on the heads. The heads are slightly different because we're color shifting them. Still slow, right?
Yeah.
What's your current card? Disaster Puppets is asking. Let's go figure out my current card. I've got it written down, but I forget what it is. just
Does
a
that come up
second.
on the system dial, the Windows break key one?
Yeah, I think it does. It does. The Windows break, I didn't try that. I didn't know I could do that. Let's try
On a
that.
full-size keyboard, that's quite a nice way to get that up.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it here. There's another way to do it, but I've got it over here in a spreadsheet. It's so funny. Yeah, here's my spreadsheet. This is me doing my GPU research. This is me entering my laptop, my CPU. Here it is right there. That's what I got. So an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1080.
I've only got the 1050.
And here's that GD3 mark I was telling you about. It's at 14,000. This is my new card I'm getting right here. But the other thing, you know what the other thing is, Rory? That new card's going to be in a machine that's going to be a much faster processor too. So
well, that's always helpful.
Yeah, so that processor is going to be like, it'll effectively be better. It'll be able to do more. So this is the rank of my card versus the new card that's coming in right here. That's the new card.
Which site did you go to for that ranking?
I don't remember. GD3 or G3D. Look at that. Look up G3D mark. G3D. Passmark software.
Passmark. There we go.
This is where I got it. Right here.
Because I have to try and find mine now.
Yeah. So that's what's going on there. Saw Chef Brent specking this out for you.
Ooh.
That was fun. Yeah, it is.
You're going to get the 2080 Ti, are you? I'm looking just at the default that's popped up in front of me. That's about 21,000.
21,000? Hey, look who's here, kid. These planets moving in the position. That's my moves on the dance floor, right there. I bought a 980, bring the first decent money I've spent on a card. A week later, the 1280s came out. Still using the 980. Okay, gotcha. How you doing, Surly Dev? Listen to the sound. When the die collide and bounce off each other, it changes. Oh yeah. So the sound, we did the sound like months ago, but the sound, I kind of take it for granted. But the sound's actually all homemade and really intelligently done. So let's put a couple more in here. Let's do, let me try using my buttons on the Stream Deck. So I'm gonna hit 5 D12s because I love the D12s. Let's say just generic right there so you can listen to them. Oops, I said generic, but you know what? This thing was still on. Is that why it came out as necrotic? But if you listen to the sound effects, I actually recorded the sound of a dice dropping onto wood. And I did it from different volume, from different heights. And if it was from a really high height, it was a louder sound. It sounded different from if it was small. And I also did sound effects of dice hitting each other. So I've got like something like 12 to 16 different sound effects for dice collisions. And then when the dice collide, I check the velocity. And if the velocity is high and if they're colliding against the floor, I play the dice against wood sound. And if they're colliding against each other, I play the dice against dice sound. That's what I do. So let's do that one more time. Let's do 5. I want to get the dice coming out here faster. Here, 5d12, no damage. Let's just make them extra like this and let's roll those. There you go. Listen to that sound. Yeah. When we first heard it, we were like, that's the way to do it. Let's clear the dice.
It really does add to the whole realism as well.
Yeah.
As you said before, the subtlety of sound has a far less than subtle effect.
Yeah, let me do a wild magic check here. So this one's got some special effects in here. So it's gonna kind of slow things down here. And plus we've got multiple layers going on. We haven't done really any optimization at all. Okay.
It looked like there was a multicolored trail on that one, so that suggests hue shifting of several different colors.
Yeah, I just wanted to do it one more time to show you this ending piece because we're talking about sound. Let's do it one more time here. I gotta come up and I think I gotta re-select it here before I roll it. So watch when these are done rolling and listen to the sound effects. I've talked about these sound effects here. These sound effects are excellent. When this goes away, oh, never mind. Look at that. Something needs to be reset. Transform, reset transform. There it is right there. Okay, one more time with the wild magic check. One more time. So that one. Oops, that's the wrong thing. I didn't want that one. Let's try again. Here we go. Interesting, it's kind of picked that other effect to go with it. That should have sparks behind it, but it looks like we stumbled on a bug. All right, let me clear the dice and listen to the sound effects here. Yeah, that sound effect. Surly Dove's great. Just got home from the hospital where I got to see the inside of your bladder. Oh no. Same color as the clock. Incidentally. Okay, that's maybe not so good. All right, let's clear those dice. Let's exit combat. Let's work on the GPU stuff. That's what I want to do. I want to work on my GPU. And so when we left off, I'd made some progress, but not. But I had a kind of a bug, a visual bug. Let's go bring up. Hold on a second. Here we go. On the FPS, I added this show FPS window. So if we bring this up, you see what's going on here. So we're showing the frame rate right here. So you can see we're about 20. This is on the front overlay. Okay. So the front overlay is not doing much right now. It's drawing. In fact, I think it's only drawing. It's drawing two things. It's drawing the clock. It's drawing the diagnostics panel, and it's drawing the Fred over there.
Yeah.
Its frame rate's about 20. What is it set to? The front overlay is set to 25. Let's jump it to 30. See if we can. Yeah, no change. Let's drop it down to 15. Still no change? That's not expected. And 10 and 5. There we go. 5, it goes to 14. I think I got a math problem. I think we saw evidence of this in there before in terms of calculating the frame rate. I think I've got a math problem. But we're kind of close. What I want though is I want that graph to be to the left of the number 10, and the graph is supposed to span the entire width of this front piece right here. Now we're dropping to 5. I'm watching a kid get on a chair. Oh, okay. Getting something off a shelf. All right, now we're at 5. Seems like that took a long time to get down there. Oh, wait. No, you know what makes sense?
What's that?
We're collecting 150 of the most recent frame draws, and we're getting the average. That's showing the average of them.
Right, so it's too far into the past.
Yeah, and especially when we drop the frame rate down low. So now we've just changed it to 15. Yeah, I would love a healthy pink color too. Watching coders and eating bacon, does life get better than this?
No,
Karen says it does.
Totally does.
Wow.
If you don't think so, that's awesome.
Wow. She says if you don't think so, that's awesome. Okay, now we're up to 15. So it looks like maybe it's not a math error, but it's an error in calculating that average. Like if we change the frame rate, what should we do? Because that should be more responsive. Let's first fix the drawing, so the drawing is in the right spots. And we're going to use this to see if changes that we make are improving our frame rate. That's what we're looking for. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Sounds good.
Let me close down. Let me hide the scroll. And this is going to be in the Dragon Front game. We built this here first. Graph frame rates. Cool. We're right in the place where the problem was. The problem is somewhere in these lines, among these lines of code. And to be honest, I was fading as I wrote these. So it was like, you know, near the end of the show, I started writing this, and then I got to a point where I realized this is going to take a while to figure this out. To be honest, I don't feel like much smarter now than I was on Friday. So bear with me as we try to figure out what's going on here.
We'll be fine.
Coding Gorilla suggests some coffee to go with that bacon. Hey, Caraman Chicati, I love hearing you, but do you mind closing my door? Kid just walked in, walked out, left the door open. All right, so let's look at the code and what's going on. We'll back up a little bit here. We'll look at each line of code up here, and that'll help me too in terms of getting my head wrapped around it. Surly says yes.
Genescu 7, where are you? We need your help.
We'll look at the code after Genescu 7 saves the day. I don't know what's going on. Fred, do you know what's going on, buddy? No? Okay. Just say hi to Genescu 7 for me, Fred. Will you do that? All right, thanks. Okay, so we're going to set the fill style to the actual color, and we're going to align it right. So that's going to draw that. The actual color, the FPS actual color we set up to be red. So that's kind of that reddish color there. Then we're filling text. So those 3 lines of code are the red thing. Then we figure out how big is 3 digits of text. That's what we're doing there, using that font and the font size for that, which is it set up above it anywhere? It's not. But I think it's set just before we call it graph frame rates. Draw titles. So it's going to be in the same font size as the title, the word front up there. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So there's our text width. Then we figure out our right edge. So it's going to be the right side minus the text width. Let's verify that this dot right is calculated correctly. Well, we can assume it is because my text align is right, and I'm calling fill text, passing in this dot right, and we can see all the text. So at this point, right edge is correctly calculated. The time at right, and this is, I should almost call this the minus time, the T minus time is what this is, because I'm going backwards is kind of what I'm doing. That's kind of the idea there. The right time is 0. That's kind of was my thought process. So at 0, that means we're here, and then we're going back in our history of our recorded elements. The graph width is equal to the right edge now, so that right edge, so it's to the left of 3 digits. What's interesting is that graph width is right about, I wonder if I'm drawing this thing backwards, because I'm just looking at that part there. It looks way too advanced.
It's as if the left edge of the graph is where the right edge of the graph should be.
That's what I was about to say, Rory. Brilliant. Fred looks too advanced for character animator. What is he running through? Disaster of Puppets. Fred is an AVI that's on a loop, and I've got variations of the AVI that go on that loop depending on what happens. Like, for example, something can happen where Fred causes plants to grow. That looks like that, and you can make those plants go away as well. Looks like I got a transform on these. It's interesting on the. Let me reset the transform there. Get the on that overlay, front overlay. He can get like an Arcana shroud around him like that, and then on the front of him we've got some digital puppeteering. So I just hit a button and he can do a pre-recorded piece on the front. Oh, look at that! Same problem here. That looks almost comical. Front, transform. Reset transform, there it is right there. So one more time. Front.
So basically Mark's using all the techniques to create the awesome.
He can wave like that. He can do a thumbs up, a thumbs down, like he can point over to me like that. So that's kind of what's going on there. So it's kind of a combination of the two. Layered movies with different animations type deal. Yeah, exactly. There's a layered loop in the back. So that movie in the back of Fred, goes about, it's about, I think, 1.5 to 2.5 minutes long, somewhere in that range, about 2 minutes long. It's just a loop. It is a, and he looks great, right? He looks really good. You're right.
Oh, it does.
And I just made that using After Effects and Adobe Premiere. C# Fritz, no big deal. It's only C# Fritz. Rating with 112.
Fritz and all your friends.
Thanks, kids. Welcome, kids. You're here just in
Tail
time.
Learn Code also.
What'd you say?
Tail Learn Code is also rating in the same moment.
Holy cow. It's too much. It's going to get crazy, kids. Look who's here. Gotta get my eyes right there looking at it. It's Copper Bearded, kids, in the house. How you guys doing? How you doing, C# Fritz?
Is in the house.
Disaster Puppets, you are welcome. You're welcome. Always happy to share what we're doing here. Let's see.
So for those who have just arrived, we might as well explain exactly what we are doing. Mark's got this wonderful little graph on the front here, which is the object of which is to tell us what the current frame rate of our engine is. However, oh, here we go.
It's the hat, Rory. You got to give it a second.
Yeah.
It's a hat. Got lost. Whoa. C# Fritz. Look at that awesome intro. C# Fritz doing well. Got lost in my own code around formatting CSS styles for Blazor.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't like getting lost in my own code. And what's happening here? It looks like my top monitor's shifted and moved here a little bit off to the side. Let's look at that. Yeah, this is a little weird. Yeah, the transforms are moving on different sides here, on different scenes. It was fine here. I moved away, came back, and it was off to the side a bit. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat room. .NET Ed is there. Greatest Lord is there. Trezzy Codes, Smab UK, Unholy Tig, G-Man, Johan B, Deflux, Webface. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Glad you're here. Deflux is here. Yeah, I said Deflux. Just saying. I see Deflux K. Yeah, am I saying that right? Or should I tell me how to pronounce that if it's yeah. Retro CRT is here. He's got his own program. How you doing, Retro CRT? Good to see you. Fred's waving. Yeah, no, you got it perfect. Okay, great. Deflux. Excellent. So we got a problem with our drawing though over here. So this is basically we've got a history of our drawing, and our new theory is we're drawing that graph on the wrong side. We're starting at the right place, but we're getting the direction of it wrong.
Yes. So the left border of the current graph is where its right border should be.
That's what I think is happening. Let's see if that's happening. That would mean, okay. That would mean like a plus. One of these goes to a plus, I think. Both of these go to a plus instead of a minus. I think my right edge minus that. Let's try it. Could it be that simple that was our problem all along? Let's refresh it here. We need to go to the Dragon Front overlay. Refresh that. Here comes the refresh. And now we're going to initialize the player data. By the way, the bigger picture of all of this, the special effects and all the stuff that we're doing, it's for Dungeons and Dragons show on Twitch. Which, if you like Dungeons and Dragons and you like outrageous comedy, it is. You can go follow it out over there. That's where it is. Okay, so now let's show the window. Okay. So I think we were onto something, but now it's like our data's going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I think. Right? Why is it going the wrong direction? We're iterating through the data in the wrong way? Could that be our problem?
Maybe.
We need to reverse this for loop? Let's try it.
Where are we putting new data? I mean, that would make sense, wouldn't it? New data is being pushed on. Is it pushed on at the start or pushed on at the end?
I thought it was pushed on at the end. Oh yeah, so that's right. It's pushed on the end, isn't it? All right, let's try that. Let's do a refresh over there. Yeah, I was not brilliant enough on Friday to be able to figure the potential fix out right there. Oh wait, we were also doing left line calculation, right time. No, I think this line's good because this is our time math right here, and this is the left time is equal to right time minus time this frame.
Oh, comment in the chat points out you should also be decrementing I if you're now going the other direction.
Oh, you're totally right.
Completely missed that one. Thanks, chat room.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Let's refresh again. Yeah, I totally missed it.
That's Unholy Tig mentioned that. Well done.
So here comes the refresh for the front page. This is Grovosaurus is ready. Hey, look, it's Oscar. Let's talk to Oscar. Oh my God! Grovosaurus, how could you do that? If anybody's wondering what's going on, we've got fanfares for some of our regular kids out here, and so they play from time to time when those people come into the chat room for the first time. So welcome, Grovosaurus. All right, initialize player data again. Okay.
Cornelia. Fred.
Let's turn off all the other nameplates, and let's show the FPS window. It's like we've got this extra line too that goes right up to there to the top. It's like our first move to is almost not working, almost. It's starting at like a 0-0 for it.
It's like a 3D printer printing our graph.
Yeah, let's switch down to 5 frames per second and watch it drop down. Yep, so that's good. We just drawn one too many lines, I think, is what I think we're doing. It's this line right here. What we want to really do is, I think, this. We've got this last move to right here. So I think we want to say, hey, if it's equal to the first one we're drawing, we're going to go to move to line right, then go do that. I think that might be the fix. Let's try that.
Yeah. I think you were getting rid of that before, but now that we're going the other direction, we have to do a slightly different test.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, it feels like we might be really close to fixing it. It was just like a couple operators were off, or thinking was not quite right on Friday. Okay, refreshing again.
Come and see that, Fred.
I love Surly Dev's comparison. It's like a seismology graph. Coding Gorilla chiming in with, I was just thinking that. Reminds me of all the earthquake disaster movies.
Yeah. So I want to see now, I'm expecting there to be a correlation. So what's happening is we're getting an average with the red number is averaged out of all the frame rates past the last 150 frames.
Right, but at 15 frames a second, that's the last 10 seconds, right?
Yeah, let me switch it to 30 and see what happens. So now we're running into problems where sometimes we can draw the frame really quickly and sometimes we can't. Right, so now it's showing us the average is getting kind of right in the middle of that group right there. Okay, cool. Now we want to crank that up so that we want to make that faster is what we want to do. That's kind of our goal. Right now on the front, nothing's really going on. Let's do one other thing. I want to get the back overlay one going as well on this. Now that we've got this code here and this code is working, graph frame rates, let's just use tabbed index reference to find how we're getting in here. That's CodeRush, by the way. I've got CodeRush loaded up inside of Visual Studio, and we are dog fooding it. So that's what's going on with in that space. If you're wondering what's going on there, let's go ahead and close that.
The interesting thing for me, Mark, looking at that graph, is that even though the numbers aren't fluctuating too much, I'm looking at the stream now, slightly delayed version of this, it's sort of ranging between 13 and 15, which is a spread of 3 or 4 frames per second. So what's the vertical scale of this graph? Because it's jumping up and down a lot.
The top is 30 frames a second, and the bottom is 0 frames a second.
Right, so you're actually drawing the number at that relative location. But what about the graph itself? Because, as has been commented, if that was your heart rate, you'd be worried. It's up and down and up and down and up and down and up and down. Wouldn't it stay at a particular level, roughly, and then sort of glide down? In fact, shouldn't it? It's like a tachycartograph? I forget how it is. But yes, as it's measuring, the line should go up and down as smoothly as the number is on the right-hand side. But for that last, 10 seconds worth, it's up and down hugely.
Yeah, that it's actually making sense to me to do that. The number's not moving up and down because it's taking the average frame rate of the last 150 frames is what it's doing. So that's what's going on with that. I could change it, by the way, that average. We might want to actually look at that and tweak that before we...
See, at the moment, I look at the graph and I wonder what the graph's telling me, even though I can look at the numbers and go, okay, I sort of understand that.
Hold on. So yeah, this is getting get average. And what is this parameter here? Entries to count. So the problem is this, is in our time between frames queue, we're just adding in the actual time between each frame. Actually, this is not a problem. We could count back, because that's kind of an absolute. Every time we draw a frame, we mark the time. We basically do that. Instead of saying how much entries, how many entries to count. So this is the last 10 entries. What we can do instead is we can change that to an amount of time. So instead of saying entries to count, let's change this to time to average and call it milliseconds, like that, in milliseconds. So now when we call get average, we're going to say, let's go back, say 3 seconds, like that. Okay? So now let's just make that work. This one's easy to do. This get average is easy to do because with this data, the time between frame queues is stored that way. We've got another, it's stored by the deltas of the time. We have another one is that we're storing the actual draw time. And what's interesting about this is the draw time for each frame was really short. It was very small. And we were noticing that there was a lot of overhead from JavaScript outside of us that was happening, was going on there. Sorry, Dev, were you anxious? I was thinking about the thing they were going to do to me. Okay, that makes sense. Explaining how you got stuck in the vacuum in the first place is the hard part. If it involved taking a picture of the inside of your bladder, I'm surprised it was that low. Yeah, don't get stuck in the vacuum, kids. That's the thing we try to make sure you don't do. So with this data, we can do what I'm about to do. With this data, we can't. Okay, so let's see here. We were in the call to get average. Now what I want to do is I want to say, I think I want to add a new parameter, one more parameter here. Count limit, like this. I'm going to make this equal to, is there the same thing as a number.max value here? No, how do we get the max value here?
Not aware of one, although we can figure out what that is.
Is there like a max? There's no... What's the biggest number I can get in JavaScript? I don't
know if it's actually a constant. In ES6, it's defined as max_safe_integer.
Oh, okay, cool. Is it MAX? Oh, is it all uppercase? Underscore
Yeah.
safe? Underscore integer? I'm not getting any
Apparently.
IntelliSense on this.
This is just my first first hit on Google, but there is a.
I'm not getting
custom
anything.
mount.
All right. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to do this.
There is a number.max_value returns the largest possible number possible in JavaScript.
Number underscore.
Number.max_value.
Is it all
Number
uppercase?
is the type.
Like this?
The property is yes.
Like that?
Not looking at yours for the minute. My stream is somewhat slow.
Is there a different number? Is it an uppercase number? Oh, that looks like that maybe worked. That was it. I got IntelliSense on it. Confirm it. It's an uppercase
There
N
we go,
for
yes.
number. Okay, cool. So time to average is that. Count limit, I'm going to say that's equal to a -1. So now we can use this in two different ways. So now we can work with the data in two different ways. So, so now I want to come down here and say, hey, look, if time to average, whoops, if time to average MS is equal to number.max value, then I want to, so we basically said just get the average. Then I think I want to say, hold on. I want to do this. I want an upper limit. Like this is what I want. And I think I want to say the upper limit is equal to the queue.length. All right. But if it's not equal to max value, then I want to set the upper limit equal to the time to average in milliseconds. So if we set a time to average inside of here, then that's what we want to do. The hold on. No, I want to change this logic. If count limit is not equal, yeah, count limit is not equal to -1, then I want to say the upper limit is the count limit. So that's how many we're going to go back. So now upper limit's going to go here and here and here. And inside of here, I want to say, hey, if time to average, so we're going to do total is plus equal to that. Then I want to say, hey, if time to average milliseconds is not equal to number dot value, max value, then I want to say if total is greater than time to average, then return, no, then break. We're just going to break like that. That'll take us down to here.
If you scroll just a little bit, there we go.
Okay. So that's what's going to happen. If our time, if we've specified the amount of time we want to average, that means we're totaling everything up. And if we're totaling everything up and this is greater, then we're done. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to have an upper limit. That upper limit, if it's specified, that'll constrain us. So the number that we go backwards, like we might go back 10 or something like that. What's cool about this is we can use, well, we can't quite use it this way. But we can determine how many frames back was how many seconds ago by using the two pieces of data, if we need to. If we need to go back and grab that other piece of data that's just showing us how long it took to draw each frame, we can figure out what index backwards into that list do we need to go to get that. The other thing that is occurring to me is I think we're looking at this the wrong way too. I think this needs to be reversed. I think our average is the average on the other side of things. So this should be upper limit -1, I is greater than or equal to 0, and I minus minus. Thanks, chat room, for that. Coding Gorilla came up with number.max out there, by the way. Disaster Puppet subscribed to tier level 1. Thanks for that. Germunder is out there. Hey, kids. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go from the upper limit back down to 0 is what I'm going to do. Hold on. I think I'm looking at this wrong again. Because do I want to look at where's the most recent ones? If I push, the most recent one is at 0. Is that right? Or no, it's at the end. So my lower limit, I need to calculate as well, right here. This is what I need to do. This code is going to work if I've got a time to average that I'm doing, but this code will not work if I've set count limit to some value. Okay? I need to set the lower limit as well. So let's do this. Let's do this and say lower limit, like this. Set that equal to 0. Does that make sense what I'm contending, Rory? I'm pretty sure this code is wrong. So I'm going to come in here. We're going to add braces around this. And so now what I want to do is say my upper limit is equal to q dot length minus 1. Is that right or no? Just q dot length, because we're going to do our own minus 1 down right here. Okay, so the upper limit is equal to q dot length. Well, we've actually set that right up there. So the lower limit, I don't need this line here because we just set it up above. The lower limit is equal to the upper limit minus the count limit. That's my lower limit. I need to replace this 0 with the lower limit.
Yeah.
Now I feel like there's a much better chance of this working.
That is much better.
I kind of feel like I should review it one more time, but I also feel like, well, let's just run it and see what happens. Fred is more real than most of us. Fred, say hello. Fred saying hello. To L Ghost Trevories. L Ghost Trevories. Welcome, L Ghost Trevories. Okay, let's do a refresh. See what happens. Dragon front overlay. Hey, none of that, Fred. All right. Okay, we should be able to actually just show this now without actually refreshing the data, which would be super interesting because now all we're doing is showing text and see what our frame rate is here. Okay, well, there's some seriously wrong code with calculation of the frame rate.
Big numbers.
Like, what just happened there? Getting the average. Total. Hold on. Oh, I see what's going on. The time to average. What's going on here? The total. Total divided by, this should be the count that we are. The count limit is not equal to -1. Otherwise, am I using count limit down here? I'm not. I'm using a lower limit of here, upper limit of here. Okay. I need a number here. Oops, I want that to be a let instead. So I need a number here that's going to be num frames process. Like this. Set that equal to 0. And let's increment it. And then here I want to divide by that, and I want a num0 check here just to make sure that this is, don't have a divide by 0. Sorry, a divide by 0 check. So if that's equal to that, then I'm just going to say, hey, the average is going to be 0. I'll throw 0 back, If we haven't processed any, we don't know anything. Okay? Unlikely to happen, but I just want to make sure I don't get a divide by 0 because those are hard to find and often are edge case bugs. Okay, let's refresh the overlay again.
I love how Coding Gorilla saw the 1,000 frames per second and said, GPU problem solved. Good job.
Nice. That's how we fix the problems here.
Yeah,
Okay.
just fake the numbers.
Good.
Massage them slightly.
I like it.
Okay, numbers are back under control. Good.
Yeah. And I've got room for 3 digits there if I ever get to a triple digit frame rate. Which in reality I'm probably not going to do. That 22, the 21, that's too close to the right edge. I'm going to move it back. Half of a character width is what I'm going to do.
Okay. So the left edge moves. Well, sorry. The left edge moves. Oh, you just. Yeah.
I'm going to indent the right. I'm specifying the right position here. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come down here. There's my text width. I want to change this, I think, to call it digit width, like this. Down here, we're going to say digits times 3 digits. And here I'm going to change this to this, and then I'm going to say this minus my digit width divided by 2. So I'm just going to cut that in half right there. Let's refresh it one more time. Right there. And that's important because we use our feature detectors to recognize symbols, and if symbols are close to lines, too close to a line, it interferes with our ability to detect to read it. Now it's easier to read. And so we're kind of seeing that average over 3 seconds in the past is what we're doing. So let's now shift it to 5 frames a second and watch what happens. Better. See what's going on there? It's going now. We could add some code that says, hey, if you're shifting from one frame rate to another, then we're going to we'll change the amount of time that we look back to determine what that number is. So instead of looking back 3 seconds, we're going to be like, oh, let's look back. Because why is the line for so much smoother? This is a great question, Coding Gorilla. I should ask you guys. Why is the line much smoother for the 5 than it is for the 30?
Because there's far less variation per unit time when you're down at 5.
Yeah, when we're at 30, we're pushing the limits, and sometimes we get it, and sometimes we don't. That's what's going on. Now, when we fix the performance problems, I'm expecting it to actually, I'm hoping it gets all the way up to 30. And by the way, included in that fixing the performance problems is getting my brand new machine built and set up with my #1 GPU in there and a faster CPU that I'm going to throw at this problem. So, yeah. I bet, though, if we drop it to 20, it's going to be smoother. Watch this.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of unexpected.
That's a little weird. Because what we've actually got is a graph, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, we're actually shoving the data points and all of their variations. So if over the last, let's say that covers about 3 or 4 seconds worth of time, if in that time you've had moments where there was virtually no processing necessary and moments where there was a lot, and let's say it was during the sequence of animation, so maybe you've got a frame that's been color shifted but the rest aren't. I know we don't, but if we add that, you'd see, through the sequence, suddenly you get this frame which was very intense and then others that weren't. And that's sort of what we're assuming that we're seeing here. We're seeing a variation. When we brought it down to 5 frames a second, we had lots of consistency. So the theory was that if we brought our goal down to where the average already was, then we shouldn't see a lot of variation. So it wouldn't be attempting to do any more than what was being asked for.
I still think if we drop it down, if I drop it to 15, it's going to, my contention is I drop it to 15, we're going to see it smooth out. Let's try that. So drop to 15. I contend that's smoother.
That is smoother.
Yeah, so what's happening is we get to around 20 frames a second, we're kind of pushing the limits. And so what's happening is sometimes we're able to draw quickly. Sometimes we're not. And because we're not, we're getting the call to draw sooner. Right? So the request animation frame is coming back and saying, okay, let's come back and give that to you. I think that's what's happening. There could also be other issues in the code, for example, that are influencing this. But that's my theory right now, is that that's why it's smoother as we drop the frame rates. Go down to 10, it should be even smoother.
Is that to say that you're getting requests to call to draw a frame whilst another one is still already being drawn?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure we're calling request animation frame afterwards. And I think, anyway, I think the browser knows. Sir Fetish Fancy is now following. Thanks for that follow. I think the browser knows that it's in the middle of the call and hasn't returned from the call yet, so it's not going to go out and give you a new animation frame. So yeah, that's what's going on. Our goal is to be able to set this to 30, like that, and then see it hit, right? Go up to 30. Okay. So we've got one of these working. Let's build one for the back. That's going to show up. And then the dice layer will do last, because the dice layer is more complex. It's not based on the same architecture. But I think the creating one for the back, let's do this. Let's drop the frame rate down to 15, just so you're not looking at that cardiogram for so long there. But I think it's still interesting to have that up. So that's our FPS for the front layer. Let's get the back layer up. Let's also get rid of this. Sir Fetish Fantasy says, I'm not sure what's going on, but I like your facial hair. This is kind of what I do, you know, about once a week, do this. It fades by Friday. You see it on Tuesday, and you get to see it fade every day. All right, we're going to initialize player data. So that's going to get rid of that green text where it says waiting for the overlay to refresh. Let's go back here again, what we were doing before, show all frame rates. And this is in the update screen of the Dragon front game. So I essentially need to take this and put it in the Dragon back game, along with the declaration for it, I think. Dragon back game. Let's go find its update screen. Yeah, I'm a natural blue and purple. Disaster puppets. Okay, let's see here. Dragon back game, that's the one I wanted. Update screen. So the last thing we're going to draw there is the FPS window, and we're going to call it, give it a label called back. And then this is its position, what column number. So I'm going to set that at 1 for now, which means it'll be right next to it. Because if I set it at its other position, it's going to kind of block over me, and so I kind of want to be able to see me during this as well. So now we need a show FPS window. We need to go look at that code. What's going on with show FPS window? Okay, we need to find our handle FPS change. Do I have the same call here in the back game? I do. There it is right there. So I need something like this. And down here I want to say this.show FPS window is equal to the frame rate change data dot show FPS window. So that's going to tell us whether we should show it or not. Okay, so now I've got that done, and then I need an FPS window. I think that's all I need to do is just declare this one, and I'm done.
That's nice.
I think. Let's double check it though. FPS window of type FPS window. Let's go back over into the front game. Look. What do we got here? That's it. Okay, so now if we go to the back game and we refresh the back overlay, which I'm doing right now, and now come back over here into the UI, toggle that back on. Well, oh, back overlay is waiting for it to initialize. Well, it should already work. That should already work. Why aren't we seeing it? Is it because, let me turn off the front overlay for a second here. Is it because it's drawn right behind it? Nope.
No, that would have been my assumption.
I was thinking maybe our column positioning was wrong on that. There's the front game. Let's go look back at the back game. Right here. FPS change. That all looks. Oh, I know. I think I know why. I think I know what's going on. Hold on. Let's refresh initialize player data. I think what's happening is when I'm calling this, maybe I'm not sending out to everybody to tell them the new data. Maybe I am. Let's see if what's going on there. Let's search for show FPS window. Change frame rate. Yeah, here's what's happening. We're only changing it in the front is what's happening. So let's do this again here. And now what I want to do is I want to call this, I actually want to call it at least 2 more times, maybe 3. Overlays.back. So we're going to send that out again, and then we're going to do one more time, making it overlays.the dice layer right there. And we'll send that out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to send 3 SignalR signals out. Is that fair to do, or is it better? Hold on. Maybe we have the low-level side solve the problem instead of the high level. Because I think it's better to send 1 SignalR down. And I'm almost thinking, since we've got the frame rate data there, we want to say, hey, look, if it's equal to back, or, oh, but we don't know if it's a change. Looks like I lost Rory here. Hold on a second. Let's go get Rory back with us. Poor network connection. Here he comes.
Here we are.
All right,
Sorry,
Rory. No worries.
Just died again.
No worries. All right. Yeah, the problem is... Yeah, I'm not liking this at all. I'm not liking this. This is my problem. I don't like that. I'm taking it out of here because it's going to be problematic because I want to be able to independently change the frame rates is what I want to do. So what I think I want to do instead is I want to say, hey, if no, I don't want to set it there. I want to set it here, right there. So I want to say, hey, if the active back game exists, then I want to say this is equal to frame rate change data dot show FPS window. So if anything comes across at all, if we call change frame rate anywhere, I want to come in there and set that flat out without actually checking to see if it's specifying should I change the frame rate on the back overlay. So that's what I want to do here. And this is what I want to do. I want to do the same thing here, right here, but this is going to be the active front game instead, like that. Okay. And I got to do the same thing up here on the dice layer, but we'll have to figure that out because it's, like I say, the architecture is slightly different.
So just to see if I understand this correctly, you've basically got a checkbox on your WPA application, which, if it changes for any reason, will turn all the frame rate windows on and off.
Yes, but they won't. It'll only change. What's problematic here, slightly problematic, is up here. We're saying the overlay is equal to the front, but we are passing frame rate of -1. Good. So that means we're not going to do anything there. So this overlay, it doesn't really matter what it's set to be honest. Okay, I'm just going to run it for now. And now I'm going to go into, I'm going to refresh again the back and front overlays. And let's take a look at what that looks like.
So this is being drawn within those things. Are they being drawn in different physical locations?
Should be, based on the code I wrote on Friday.
Okay.
That parameter of what column it should be in should specify what location to draw it in. So let's come in here, refresh the front page as well. All right, initialize player data, show FPS window. Initialize player data takes a moment or two to come up here. There we go, looks like it's done. There we go. So now I should be able to...
the window slightly and not showing the number.
Wait, say that again?
Hang on, maybe is that my Skype? Sorry. Full video feed was trimming the right and left slightly.
Got it.
Therefore, I wasn't seeing the number. But no, that's good.
Notice for back, we're not seeing the number because the clock is overlaying it. Because in order to get the data, we need access to the data, and each overlay is storing its frame rate. So if let's change the back overlay to like 10, and the front overlay to like 30. The 30, we should see no differences there. There's the 10 popping up there. Change the front overlay to 15. And there you can see what's going on. So cool. All right. It looks
we now
like...
have proper diagnostics for front and back, telling us exactly how healthy our systems are.
Yeah, giving us a sense of it. And you can see that basically right now, under the current load, I can handle about a frame rate of 15 is what I can handle across the board. Yep. That's kind of what's going on. Notice, though, as I just changed the back overlay also to 15, look at that thing. Look at that thing try to work to get its way up.
It's not stable at that level, is it?
Yeah. So now let's add a new feature here. Let's add a new diagnostic ability. And this diagnostic ability is going to be, let's do it. We'll use, we're going to go into the XAML while we're running. Let's go find FPS. And we're going to add a new checkbox, I think. That is going to be checkbox disable hue shift.
Really?
You don't want it? Did you say it really?
I'm just thinking of double negative. To disable the have a false for disablement to turn it on.
All right, you want enable. That's what you want.
Kinda.
I thought you were a fan of. No, I think it's a great idea. Actually, I think your observation is excellent. I just thought you were a real fan of the hue shifting, and I was like, really? Wow, you really don't want to get rid of that. He really likes it.
It's the obvious thing to take out, given our recent evidence.
Yeah, well, actually...
Is this going to be a global effect, though, that you're going to do? Or are you going to disable pieces?
No, it's going to be global. It's going to be global, at least on the front and the back overlays is what it's going to be. The dice layer, like I say, it's a different architecture, so we're going to have to kind of throw a different attack at that. But it shouldn't be too bad. It shouldn't be too much work to get it there. Yeah, not bad. I think I'm going to actually want to throw the dice layer in here in a second, though. So with XAML hot reload, there's our button right there. We can't do anything with it until we actually have a breakpoint. We can't hook anything up to it. But let's do that. I'm going to set a breakpoint over here in this guy. Right here. I'm going to check that. And all I'm doing is so I can get back over to XAML, and I can now create event handlers here. New event handler. I'm going to call it now. I'm going to tab the next reference on there. I'm going to hit F2 to rename it. I'm going to call it check changed because I want to use the same one for the unchecked. No, not now. Pudding. I'm trying to do a show. Pudding, pour it back. Pudding. 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 How you doing, Pudding? It's his stream now, says Mr. Announcer Guy. Stop Pudding. No.
Right, well, Pudding's here, and that means I can leave because, well, not because Pudding's here in fairness, but I have noticed it is that time. I feel safe leaving you in the hands of Pudding, though.
Great. we're all going to die, people.
Your certainty of how accurate that is astounding.
Pudding, welcome. We're so glad you're here, buddy. Always a pleasure, Pudding. All right, Roy, thanks so much. As usual, thanks for kicking butt. Appreciate it.
My pleasure, mate. I'll see you tomorrow, same time.
Yep, same time tomorrow. All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
All right, so here we go. How's it going? It's all right. We got our graphs finally working over here, showing our frame rates for the front and back. I'm now going to create a global enable hue shift thing that's going on right here. And now we just need to do something like this. We want to say, hey, let's create a Boolean here that says enable hue shift. Set that equal to true. And then down here, we're going to say enable hue shift is equal to CK enable. What was it? I thought it was enable. Oh, we can't see it because I think we can't see it. We cannot see it because we just created it. Give me a second. I created a template to solve this problem during edit and continue. And I forget what it was. It was control. I want to say it's CRX or something like that. Is that it? Nope, that's definitely not it. Let me go look in the templates here. Take a look at it. We're using CodeRush here from DevExpress. And CodeRush is inside Visual Studio, helping us. Hold on a second. I got my options page on another screen. Let's bring it up over here. I want to find control. See what I got here. Nope, not the one I want. The word delete, maybe. What's not there? Oh wait, hold on a second. I'm in the wrong place. I need to get to No, I am in the right place. Okay, let's look for the word delete, see if we can find that. Looks like nothing happened there. Delete. Okay, let's report a CodeRush issue here. Do that. I am trying to find the delete, a template with the word delete in it. Is it because it doesn't exist? Because I'm expecting there to be one inside of here. Let's go see if it is. I think I have, where would it be? I just want to find the template I'm looking for manually is what I want to do. Is it in my custom ones? Nope. Why am I not finding it? That's it. Right there. Does this have the word delete in it? It's got delete uppercase right there. Why didn't I find that before? So I have find text delete. Does this have to be case sensitive? Is that my problem? Looks like it's case sensitive. Okay, so maybe this is not so much a CodeRush issue as it's a feature request is what this is. Let's mark it in as just an issue. Right here, or feature request actually, sorry. Feature request. And we're going to say add options to find text in templates, case insensitive. There it is right there. All right. So yeah, we're dog fooding Code Rush every day. And sometimes we find issues with the product and we're like reporting them. So that's what's happening. So we're just, that's what's happening there. So my template I want is XNC, stands for XAML named control. So now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, I just need to get the name of that control we just declared out here. CK enable hue shift. XAML named control, like that. And now the control type is going to be a checkbox, like that. The control name is going to be CK enable hue shift. Now I can come in and I can add this line of code here. Is checked, whether it's equal to true, like that. And later it says, notice it says delete this property after your edit and continue session ends. So we can go delete that later on, and it even drops a marker for us. So at the end of the run, we can go do that. What's happening here though? Why doesn't it edit and continue? It doesn't like the initialization. Maybe it doesn't like the initialization. That may be the problem here, because there's no way it's going to be set to true when we start. How about now? Let's try hitting continue. Yeah, it just didn't like the initialization. Okay, so enable hue shift, turn it off, turn it on. Now, let's do a little bit more. Oh, we're going to have one problem. I was going to do all this in edit and continue, but we have one problem. JSON serialization does not support new properties added during edit and continue. It won't handle it. So we can add a new piece to our class, this frame rate change data. We can do that using edit and continue, but our serialization won't include it. So we're going to have to shut down and then restart. So I'm going to do that. So we'll shut it down. Let's delete this property right here. So use selection increase and then cut it or delete it. This should now work right here because it's out there. And then I want to do something like this again. I'm going to take this data right here. I also want to enable hue shift. Set that, initialize that. And then I want to add it there and just set it equal to the variable. Like that. Let's declare this. So we only need to restart on the C# side of this. We don't actually need to, we'll need to refresh on the other side, but we're not going to need to reload up everything that's the only thing we're going to need to do to make this work on the TypeScript side is refresh the overlay. So now we've got enable hue shift. That data is now going to be sent down to it. I want to initialize this to, I don't want to initialize this actually. What I want to do is I want to make sure that we are setting that these pieces we're setting kind of globally here. So I'm going to extract this into its own method because I want to, every time I create one of these, I want to extract it into its own method is what I want to do. I'm thinking about another idea. And my other idea is to create static properties that are just like this, but they're static. And I bet they can't have the same name. I bet it's going to say no. But I'm going to now, I'll just add the word global. Yeah. Global there and global there. Okay? Then in my constructor, I'm going to say show FPS window. I like this better. Is equal to my frame rate change data dot global show, like that. And we're going to do the same thing down here with the hue shift, global enable hue shift, right there. Whoops, I mean, sorry, just that one. That. Okay. So now we can set these globally. We can put the variable here instead of in storing it here. And let's do one more thing. Let's make sure that enable hue shift is equal to true. Okay. That second global is still FPS window. Did I make a mistake there? Zombie Dev is saving the day here, looks like. Oh, you're right. Beautiful catch here. Global enable hue shift. And it looks like I don't need this or this. Okay, so now I'm going to get rid of this and replace it with that. Okay. Then I don't need this line of code or this line of code. Or this line of code. I'm pretty sure I don't need that there. This becomes that goes away. Actually, before I make that go away, let's go find any other reference to this. This line of code goes away because we're handling it now in the constructor. It's just those two places. So kill that, jump back down over there. That line of code goes away. Yeah, it's a better change. And then this line of code goes away too. The enable hue shift is equal to true goes away. All right, I think we're good on this side. Let's build. Let's switch over to the overlays down below. Let's go into frame rate change data. And I need another Boolean called enable hue shift, I think, if I'm remembering correctly what this is called. I should verify that. Let's go back over here. Yep, enable hue shift. Just to be sure, I'm going to copy that to the clipboard, come back over here, paste it in. Good. Oh, look at this. I got allow color shifting already here down below. Do I have it up above? Holy cow, I do above as well. All right, so watch this. I'm just going to come in. Am I using this anywhere? Nowhere. So I'm just going to come down here and I'm going to rename this to allow color shifting. Kill that extra one. Then I'm going to come up here and do the same thing here since I've already had a good name for it. Do that. And now I go back over here. I don't need enable hue shift anymore. All right, so now we've got allow color shifting. Let's go find where we're using this to show you this window. Now we're going to say this: active back game dot allow color shifting is equal to frame rate change data dot allow color shifting. We're going to do that there. And for the front game, we're going to do the same thing right here as well. We got to go declare allow color shifting in there. Let's go do that. No, wait, I don't want it here. I want it somewhere else. Hold on. I don't need to know if there's a back game or not. This is going to be global, and that's will actually impact the dice layer. This is going to be kind of a static piece, and I may already have it. Color shifting sprite proxy dot. I don't seem to have it. That's where I want to put it. I'm pretty sure. Let's go jump in color shifting sprite proxy. All right, I don't have it yet. We're going to add it in here. So we're going to say I want a variable of type Boolean, and we're going to call this, it's on the clipboard. I got something. Allow color shifting equals true. I'm going to call it global. Allow color shifting. Set it equal to true. If global allow color shifting. Wait, actually I want to set this to a local just in case it's changed between here and down here. So I'm gonna create a new Boolean here. That's not what I wanted. I wanted that on the clipboard. Set that equal to this. Okay. Then I'm going to say, hey, if I think I'm going to still call, am I going to call shift color or not? Yeah, no, I will. I'm going to do this. Sorry, I'm going to do this. So if allow color shifting, then we're going to shift the color. And then finally, we're going to say, hey, if allow color shifting, we're going to come back here. I'm going to do actually one more check and shift color. If not allow color shifting, then return. So I'm going to just do that. I think that's it. So let's run our app. Let's refresh our overlays. There's the back overlay, getting a refresh. Deepwater's with us. Hey, Deepwater. Front overlay is getting a refresh. And I'm going to refresh the dice layer because we should see an impact there too as well. Because all of these on some level are, wait, did I fix it in our connection? I got to go look at connection. Yep, I didn't fix it. We need to refresh all of these again. That's what I want right there. So that's going to set that global right there. All right, one more time. Let's refresh those three. There's the front layer. There's the dice layer. There's the back layer. Okay. Let's run. Did we start it? We're debugging. Okay. Run it. I think I can clear those breakpoints. Let's hope I was careful enough that it's all going to work. Okay. So initialize player data.
Fred.
Okay. Let's bring up the show FPS windows. Uh-oh. We broke something? Oh no, wait, it worked. I had to turn it off? Looks like I got the code wrong. Inverted a bit. Enable hue shift is on. Let's turn it off, see if we get any difference. Whoa, enable hue shift turned off. Let's fix what's going on with my logic here. So when this goes, that's set. Oh, here's this problem. I see the problem. Hold on. This one is correct. This one is wrong. I'll show you what's going on here with it. we need to set that global before we call our constructor, because the constructor is what uses that show FPS window, that value. That's why it was the opposite of what we wanted it to be. So that should partially fix the thing where we said, hey, show the window, turn the window off, turn the window back on. Okay, that fixes that. Enabling hue shift or not doesn't seem to have any difference right now. Let's just enable it. Let's do something that is intense with, let's put out 12 D12s with fire. Look at the overlays. These are not even the dice layer that's drawing it. But look at the front and back, how they drop way down. We're at 2 frames a second, kids. Super low frame rates. All right, let's disable and see if there's any difference at all after those get all cleaned up. What's interesting is that midway through the disabling, it seemed to solve it. Let's try running the same thing again. So we'll come in here again. I'll say I want 12 D12 with fire damage. Now with it disabled. The back and front are still low. They're dropping down, but that may be the dynamic throttling that's going on there. See how they're jumping up and down? Let's turn off dynamic throttling. Let's get those overlays, put them at 30, and see what happens again one more time. We're going to do it. Notice it's much faster now without the hue shift, but it also looks very similar all the way across. The hue shift gives us a small advantage here that it's like things look more natural. So 12 D12s with fire damage. And our back overlay still drops to like 5. And our front, oh wait, I thought I turned off dynamic throttling. Let's try it again. Seems like it's off. Let's make sure I don't have some other bug with dynamic throttling. 12 D12 with fire damage. Now they're not changing. Okay, better. And now the front and back overlays are going to about 15 frames a second, which is not bad, right? Remember before they were at 3 or 2 when we were doing the color shifting. Let's turn on color shifting here and see what happens. There, look, now you can see what's going on. We get way more variety in here in terms of the fire, but it really slows things down. Turning off hue shifting speeds things back up. You can see them kind of going back up there. Okay. How are we doing on time? I think I'm going to call this a show. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get you guys, raid you guys out to another member of the Live Coders team. Tomorrow, we're going to come in and do something pretty challenging. We are going to, at least I think it'll be challenging, we're going to try figuring out how to draw on a background buffer and then send that into, and then draw from the background buffer onto the canvas. The reason why is because, like, if you look at the scroll behind Fred, you can see that it's not changing. Right, Fred? Yeah. So it's not changing. That scroll is not changing behind there. You're just going to wave? Okay. And because our frame rate is so low... Oh, interesting. Look at how low our frame rate is because we got the dice still on screen. What's happening with that? If I just roll one die and get rid of all those other die, is our frame rate going to jump up? Let me try that. Let's dice. Let's do a 1d8 and roll it. Nope. There's like something else going on. And we've even got enable hue shift off. That's an interesting bug to find. Whatever that is, we want to find that bug. Something is sucking up our... I guess the first step is figuring out how to repeat that. It looks like we were playing with fire, right? We were throwing out 12 D12 with fire. Yeah, that is super interesting. Let me take the 3D dice layer, turn it off. I just turned it off. No change. Let me go into 3D dice layer. Let's refresh it. A little bit of a change, by the way. I haven't refreshed it yet. I'm about to refresh it now. Thought I hit the button. There we go. Now it is. There. So that's been refreshed. Looks like it's refreshing a second time. It was just really slow to refresh. Still, these numbers should be much higher. Wow, that's super interesting. All right, let's go raid a channel. Oh, you know what I think just happened? Hold on. I think it's when I started this to go raid, my GPU started saying, oh, well, let me help you out over here. I think it's this. Let me pause this and see if it has any impact on our frame rate over there. Anything happening? No. Let me close it. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That was, so that's Edge coming in, and it's Edge on the Twitch page, and for some reason it's sucking up my GPU like crazy. Let's see if it drops now. We bring it back open again. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. And pausing this doesn't help. Kind of ironic that the stream manager on Twitch would suck up so much GPU. Stunning. Can I close this whole panel? I can pop it out. Well, hide player would have been an option too. Let me just, oh, look, if I pop it out, just popping it out gives me some relief. And then when it plays, it drops down a bit, I bet. Yeah, it does. Look at that. All right, let's close it. Stream mismanager. Oh, but closing it, now we did this. Let's come in and hide it. Hide player. It is not restoring. Isn't that crazy? Okay. One more time. Close down. I'm closing down the whole window. Yeah. That's Edge. I wonder if it's I wonder if the same thing in Chrome is let me start up one more time. I'm going to grab the URL. Try it out in Chrome. I think I'm going to have to log out and log back in, because I'm in Chrome. I'm logged in under a different user. Can I bring it up? Access denied. Don't have permissions. Let's log out. Log in under code rushed. Enter the code sent by text to your phone. Authy says, hey, tap it to get your security code. I hate this, by the way. Authy's like, you've got 18 seconds, 20 seconds to put this in this 5 different digit number. I think it's not good because it's kind of an ableist kind of thing, right? Folks with disabilities, that took me like 9 seconds to get that in. Folks with disabilities, that would be challenging. All right, I'm now opening the same thing up inside of Chrome. Here we are in Chrome with this piece inside of here. It does drop, but it doesn't go down as far down as the other one. The other, it's at 12. That's not bad. This is super interesting, right? That looks like Edge has got a more significant attack on the GPU. Yeah, Surly Deb says, Authy's cool unless you have cerebral palsy or something. I would like to see my former college tutor use 2FA actually thinking about it. Okay. Create a new Chrome profile, then you can have 2 logins to Twitch at the same time. Yeah, I got to figure out how to do that. I've kind of tried that once and I didn't quite finish it. So that's this. So Chrome is better than Edge. What I use two different browsers. I use just so it just stores the login permanently. But Edge seems to be problematic. Just to confirm, we're at 13 now. I'm going to close, and we're seeing the stream live right here, right? Let's close that down. Should see the numbers jump up to like 20s. And then I'm going to start up Edge once those get up there. Better than Edge Classic, which is why Edge Classic was abandoned. Scooting Gorilla. Okay, so now we're closer. We're at 18 now. So we went from 12 to about 18. Let's bring up Edge again. Here it comes. And so now it's about 12, 13. Now when it starts opening up the stream preview, that's when it drops. I think. Live. Excellent. Is it because I've hidden it? Show player. Oh, interesting. I haven't even shown it yet. Wait, there it is. It's down at, well, it's about 10. Let's see what happens when we show the player. Yeah, it's definitely lower. Now with the player, does it go below 9 or 8? Yeah, there it is. Look at that drop. Okay. So that's kind of what I was dealing with there. That is something to keep in mind. Hide the player. Does it go back up when we hide the player to like 12 at least? Yeah, it does seem to go up a little bit. So that's good. But still, I'm looking for that to be higher. All right, let's go out and see what we can rate. Tomorrow I'm going to work on background canvas painting. So we should be able to increase the frame rate. We should be able to spend less time drawing the background. Look at this. When I bring this up, this is like totally kills performance. Give me a call on Skype and I talk you through. It takes 2 to 3 minutes. Surly Deb says. Surly, do I have you on Skype? I bet I do. All right, let me switch over. I'll go ahead. I'll let you talk me through it. You know what? Let's do it after the show, Surly. We'll do that. Just because I got a bunch of data I probably don't want to throw up on screen. All right, let's see what we got out here. Who's coding live out here? Chef Brent. I'm going to send you to Chef Brent since he did me that huge favor. We're going to raid Chef Brent right now. Close this. Raid channels. Let's go to Chef Brent. Boom. Start the raid. And we get to hear Surly Deb on stream. No pudding. Did we start the raid? Here goes the raid. Say hi to Chef Brent for me, kids. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow.